Hadley Jensen was one of the 1,001 men who served in the 99th Infantry Battalion. They all risked their lives for the people of the US and Europe during World War II. Hadley Jensen was born in 1917, the youngest of 9 children. He grew up on a farm in northern Minnesota. Although he grew up during the Great Depression, he said it did not affect his family very much since they lived by modest means. While Hadley was growing up, things were changing in Europe. In 1933, Adolf Hitler was elected Chancellor of Germany. Hitler soon abolished democracy and made himself dictator of Germany. In 1938, Germany annexed Austria and western Czechoslovakia. On September 1, 1939, Germany invaded Poland and World War II broke out. By the middle of 1941, Germany, Italy, and Japan were the main Axis powers, while Great Britain, France, and the Soviet Union were the main Allied powers. By the end of 1941, Germany controlled most of Europe. On June 6, 1941, Hadley Jensen was drafted into the U.S. Army and began training at Camp Leonard Wood, Missouri. On December 7, 1941, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and the next day the U.S. declared war on Japan. 3 days later, Germany and Italy declared war on the U.S. In July 1942, an all-Norwegian 99th Infantry Battalion was created with the purpose of invading and freeing Norway from the Germans. Being of Norwegian descent, Hadley transferred to the 99th. In December 1942, the 99th moved to Camp Hale, Colorado. They trained in the art of winter warfare using skis and snowshoes. In September 1943, the 99th was sent to the United Kingdom for their final alpine training. On June 6, 1944, the D-Day invasion of Europe by Allied troops began on the beaches of Normandy, France. Though the 99th expected to land in Norway, they were redirected to Omaha Beach in support of the Normandy invasion. With elite training, the 99th was attached to many different units on an as-needed basis from June 21, 1944 to January 18, 1945. On January 18, 1945, after 31 days of fighting and living in foxholes, the Germans were beaten back and the 99th was relieved. On April 11th, the 99th returned to Germany and assisted in the searching for German soldiers. On April 30th, Hitler committed suicide, and on May 8th, Germany surrendered. On June 5th, the 99th arrived in Oslo, Norway to assist in sending German and Soviet soldiers home. On June 7th, the 99th served as the honor guard for the return of King Haakon VII. After 4 months in Norway, the 99th returned to the U.S., arriving in Boston on November 1st. Hadley Jensen returned to Minnesota in December 1945 to see his family and fiancée, Alice. In February 1946, Hadley and Alice moved to Northern California. They married on May 26, 1946, with Sergeant Lindy as his best man. Hadley and Alice had 2 daughters, Joy and Kathy. When asked how many of his friends were wounded or killed, Hadley said they were all his friends and only 500 of 1,001 made it home. As a technical sergeant in charge of the motor pool of 140 drivers, he was not usually near the front lines, yet risk was part of the war. He recalled stealing tires back from the Germans before getting shot at, and transporting troops in his Jeep at night at over 60 miles per hour without headlights. In one case, a sniper shot missed him by only a couple of inches. When asked how he was affected by the war, he said he still remembers living in foxholes and seeing dead bodies piled in concentration camps. Years later, one man from Norway best expressed his appreciation by telling Hadley if it were not for the 99th, he would be speaking German. On May 28, 2011, the remaining 45 members of the 99th were invited to Washington, D.C. to receive the Norwegian Medal of Defense. 16, including Hadley Jensen, made the trip to receive their medal presented by the Norwegian Chief of Armed Forces, General Harald Sunde. Hadley had already received other medals, including the Bronze Star. When asked how he earned his medals, he said he did not do anything special. He said he was just doing his job. Which is what makes Hadley Jensen a true hero.